Hey guys, you found the champ dog. Today, playing some Grixis Bolas. This deck is pretty near and dear to my heart. I played Bolas almost exclusively while it was legal in Standard, and I've tried to play it a few times in Historic with limited success. I never really got into Historic, but I'm pretty excited to be back at it with this list. So I've tried a few different versions of this list. As you can see here, this is the second one that I built. I had an earlier version which I wasn't very happy with. I've played a few games of this to make sure it was performing okay before I started recording, and I did pretty well. I played against a couple of Sultai lists. I won most of those games, all of those games actually, quite handily, although you'll see in some of this video and the next video I put out that I will struggle against them at some points. But yeah, I've been pretty happy with it. It's felt good. It's felt powerful. Had some good matches, had some bad matches, but it's been really fun for me. So a lot of you are probably already familiar with the basic Grixis Bolas shell built around our Dragon God and Nicol Bolas the Ravager, my boy. So let's focus on some of the things about my list that are a little bit different. Singleton Cling to Dust. I quite like this in Standard and even in Pioneer, so I thought I'd try it out here. A little bit of a non-bo with Search for Ice Counter. So I'm going to watch how that develops and maybe make some changes. Maze Mind Tome. So I wanted to run 2 Ice Counter. It's a really powerful card, but one problem that I've had with various Grixis lists, and I've seen other people struggle with too, is the lack of life gain. You take a lot of damage to your mana base. You see we're playing like 4 of every shock land. Just about 3 Steam Vents, sorry, my bad, and 3 Blood Grip, but we're playing a lot of shock lands. So you take a lot of damage just to play your spells on curve, and Maze Mind Tome can help recoup some of that damage and also help us against aggro decks. Aggro decks will often get us quite low before we're able to turn the corner on them, and having this to just help us get that little boost of life gain can be really helpful. I've been pretty impressed with this card so far. I used to play Discovery Dispersal. Obviously there's a lot of options in the 2 mana card draw filtering sort of spot, but I'm pretty happy with Search for Ice Counter and Maze Mind Tome as being the best options for this this sort of deck, for this build. Also got Murderous Rider. I typically prefer Bedevil because I don't like the 2 life loss. As I said, life's kind of a commodity here, but this card is obviously a built-in 2-for-1 with the creature. The lifelink is nice, can help you gain that little bit of life back, and sometimes just playing out the creature can be helpful. But basically this whole list is built to get incremental advantages. So the first part of the game we're trying to like kill things off, trade 1 for 1, and then start pulling ahead with like Ravager, Dragon God, Narset getting us a bit of card advantage. So having that built-in 2-for-1 is really helpful, and it also helps us contest the battlefield a little bit, which Grixis lists often struggle with. Particularly since Ravager rotated out of Standard, it's been really difficult to fight to the battlefield, which means that Dragon God often just has to come down, kill a thing, and then die off the next turn. So Ravager helps a lot in this. Having access to Ravager in Historic helps a lot in this list, but Rider can also help. Just having another little dude on the battlefield to protect your big plays. I've got 1 Hour of Devastation. I've seen some people play more, some play less. I just wanted to try it. It's obviously pretty nice in a Bolas heavy list, but it's 5 mana, which is pretty expensive for a board wipe. It's a conditional board wipe in that it's damage based, and there's other things I want to play at the 5 mana slot. So I'm just trying one out. I don't love it, I don't hate it. We'll see how that goes. Cry of the Carnarium. Playing against like some Rakdos and Jund lists, having something like this that can exile things is pretty essential, so I've got that in there. So we've got a few different board wipe options. I don't really want to go higher than this. I think it's enough. And yeah, then at the top we've just got Scarab God and Dragon God. I'm not playing God Pharaoh. I feel that that's just a bit greedy. It's 7 mana, which is a lot. I'd have to increase my land count. I'm playing 26, which I think is a good amount for this list. And things like Fetid Pools and Canyon Slough with cycling really help as well. I've been really impressed with those lands. I didn't know about them until recently. I don't really follow Historic. But yeah, I think Godfarer is too greedy. For 1 more mana you could play Spirit Dragon, which is more impactful. And he's not... Honestly, I don't think he's better enough than Dragon God. I don't think he's necessarily appreciably better than Dragon God or Arisen in a bunch of scenarios anyway. Obviously sometimes he is, but he's 7 mana. It's just too much. That's one problem I see a lot of people tripping over when building Grixis lists. They just tend to be really greedy and try to have like 6 mana plays, 7 mana plays. I just don't think you can afford that. We don't have the life gain that Azorius has to keep us alive against aggro until we can get to higher plays. We don't have ramp to get to them. We could play things like Mindstone, Solemn Simulacrum, other things that produce mana, but the problem is everything has pretty strict color requirements, so colorless ramping is not very good, and the colored ramping that would be available through artifacts is just really bad. So yeah, you can't really ramp in this list, so you can't really afford to be playing like 6 mana, 7 mana spells. Like, you can have like 1 or 2 6 mana spells. You'll see I have them here in the sideboard against slower decks, but yeah, like so often they're just going to sit dead in your hand. I even see like so many people trying to fit in like 7 mana Bolas or 6 mana things and running 24, 25 lands, and it just seems insane to me. It's just going to be so hard to hit your land trumps and play those cards. So yeah, I think a lot of Grixis lists are really greedy. I think also a lot of them need to be more tuned around the 1 and 2 drop slot. Really important in a list like this that you can get to a point where you can cast 2 spells in a turn to help catch up on board against aggro decks, or to help get a little bit of tempo against slow decks. A lot of the lists I see are centered around 3, 4, 5 drops, and that's obviously where most of our power is. Like, all of our big plays are there, but you have to pay a lot of attention to the 2 drop and the 1 drop slot. I'm not playing Thoughtseize. It's another difference you might see here to a lot of Grixis lists that have been running around lately since Amonkhet. I love Thoughtseize, it's a great card, but as I mentioned, life gain and life loss is at a premium in this list. I just don't think you can afford it, especially since most times, even if it wasn't most times, but at least a lot of the time, to play a turn 1 Thoughtseize, you need to shock in a card. Shock in like a Blood Crypt or a Watery Grave, so you're already taking 2 and then take another 2 to play the Thoughtseize. It's just not worth it. If we were playing something on turn 2 that we needed to protect, if we had a proactive 2-drop that we wanted to protect with a Thoughtseize, that would be a different matter, but we don't. Our turn 1 and 2, and even our turn 3, is usually about slowing the game down and trading resources till we get to turn 4, turn 5, where we play our big threats and hope to pull ahead. So I don't think Thoughtseize is a good match for a list like this. The life loss is too real. You'll see I have 2 Duress in the sideboard. I actually like Duress better than Thoughtseize in this list, because you have Thought Erasure, you have Ravager to hit people's hands, to a lesser extent Dragon God. In the matches where you want more of that effect, Duress is usually a better choice because it's not costing you life, and those matches you probably aren't going after creatures. If you are thinking about Thoughtseize because you're trying to answer creatures, yes, it answers them on turn 1, but so does Innocent Blood. Heartless Act is a good, like, you have lots of good removal options for creatures, so Thoughtseize shouldn't be your go-to, and particularly against an aggro deck. You're killing off creatures to preserve your life total, and Thoughtseize goes against that. I love it. It's a great card. I don't think it belongs in a Grixis list, though. I haven't played with Scarab God when it was in Standard. I wasn't playing Magic at that time, but I've had a lot of fun with this card. He's just a one-of. Could be something else here. I like him. I don't think he's great in this list, but I don't think he's bad. He's a big, sticky threat, and he can hit things in the graveyard, so I like him. Look, the rest is pretty standard stuff, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much. I've gone with Heartless Act. I think it's better than Eliminate in most cases. Obviously, Narset's pretty much the only thing left that Eliminate is good against. and I think the range of creatures that Heartless Act can kill compared to eliminate makes it a better choice at the moment. Sideboard, Grafdigger's Cage against can help against Muxus, helps against Graveyard List, helps against Uro. I've got Epic Downfall in here, which can help against Woe Strider and Uro. I'm actually going to take that out, but this is the list that you'll see in the video. I put it in there to help with things like that, and I've been so unimpressed by it. I don't think it's flexible enough for what you want in a sideboard slot, and also, like, against specifically Uro, for Epic Downfall to be effective, Uro needs to have been played and then escaped to stick to the battlefield, so his caster's already drawn 2 cards off that Uro and gained 6 life for me to then answer it. So I'm like, what, like 2 for 1ing, 3 for 1ing myself? It's, yeah, I'm going to get rid of this card. I don't like it. Negate, I just always like to have access to some amount of counter spells in a list like this. I wish I had more. Maybe I could put in some in place of Epic Downfall. I would like to have some in the main board. In Standard, I always had 2 negates in the main board and like an extra negate and Disdainful Stroke. Other things in the sideboard, but I couldn't find room here. You know, you need to make sure that you can kill creatures against aggro decks. Yeah, I played against some of the red decks, and if I'd drawn a negate in any of those games, I would have been dead. Yeah, I want to fit them into the main board, but I haven't figured out how to. Necromancer is just there to hit all sorts of things that I can't effectively deal with, like problematic enchantments, things that I can't, because I don't have a lot of counter spells. Could be helpful against, say, Approach of the Second Sun. It can hit Uros. It's also just because I'm not very familiar with Historic, it's nice to have something like this that's just sort of a catch-all when you don't know what to expect as well. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that as a deck building philosophy, but at least this one doesn't draw him cards like Unboard Ego. But yeah, Grixis lists are very good against creatures and planeswalkers, and they're not very good at answering anything else, so something like this can help plug those gaps. Dream Render, good against Uro, good against Graveyard decks, can slow down ramp by stopping them from searching for things with Cultivate. Not that that's played at the moment. Shuts down Fabled Passage, is just a nice little card. Enter the God Eternal is obviously good against creature-based decks and aggro decks. Gain some life, kill a thing, create a dude. Thought Distortion, good for obvious reasons. And I like Chandra just as a top-end uncounterable threat. A little bit of a pet card. Yeah, so there's the deck. Let's dive into some games. Okay, this hand clearly isn't great. I think it's keepable because of the double turn here. Obviously would prefer more lands. Yeah, let's keep it, see how we go. See what we're up against. So far I faced nothing but Sultai. I've played 3 games tonight, and they've all been against Sultai. So since last night, 4 games. 1 against Red Aggro, and 3 against Sultai. Sultai matchup seems pretty decent at the moment, so not exactly complaining about that. This seems to be mono green. Elfie boys. So we'll play the Swamp to avoid giving away more information than we have to. Anguish is pretty nice here though. Sure. Pop in for 2. What you do, you just draw a card. Okay. So we'll get our Scry on here. I've already got one of those, so I don't. You can never really have too much Bolas, but I don't necessarily need it at the moment. I think we can afford to Scry here. We do have the other Maze Mind Tome to get card advantage later in the game. Heartless Act is a nice one here. I am also not in a rush to play out Narset, since I can't really protect her at the moment. So we'll hold up Heartless Act, and then we've got Languish enabled for next turn. So actually pop elves and make dudes. That's fine. This board can get as thick as it needs to. So we're going to do this here anyway, just to make them think that this is what we've got, and hopefully incentivize them to play out something else. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen. I'm actually going to Thought Erasure here, just to see what we're looking at. I'm going to take this because that'll cost them more mana, and then next turn I'm just going to wipe all of this. I don't think I need another Thought Erasure at this point. So do I want to hold up the card draw, or... No, I think I'll just play this out and keep scrying. Get some life off this one as soon as we can, and we've got the backup tone for card advantage if we need it. So I assume we see the other prefect here. Sorry, perfect. Always trips me up. Yep, so we'll take a bit of damage here. That's fine though. Excellent. Languish is going to be devastating here. No thank you. Would like to hit another land drop if possible. Back up to 14. Another land drop. Doesn't even matter that it's tapped because we already know what we're doing this turn. So I'm not in a rush to start activating the tome again. I think the card advantage, the card draw is going to be more relevant than the scrying here. Oh, they're back up to that thick board. I can't really afford to play out either of my dudes here though. So I will actually scry. Okay, Rider's nice. And I honestly think I just play it out as a creature at this point. And we'll just draw a card in our opponent's end step. The Rider can sit back and defend our walkers. Ooh. So that was a nice draw. Makes Narset very safe play. And that's game. So what do we want here? I'm not actually very familiar with this match, so I don't know what I need to change. I guess Enter the God Eternals could be helpful. I don't know how helpful this will be because they have a lot of little dudes. I might bring in a Chandra. Now I must remember to go back and edit this deck because I accidentally snuck a 61st card into it. So get out. Get out, Cling to Dust. And I think we can trim an Azcanta. And let's just try like this. Oh. Okay, well, let's bring in a downfall and try like this. As I said, I'm not very familiar with elves, so I don't know what to expect. I mean, obviously they're playing out elves, drawing cards, playing lords. And then they've got that, what is it, Allosaurus Shepherd or something to pump everything up. So obviously board wipes are helpful, but other than that, I'm not too sure. Again, hand is not amazing, but we do have a turn 2 Azcanta, so it's not the end of the world. obviously don't love the turn 1 elves there, but what does one do? He did he. So we are going to get hit for a bunch here, particularly if they hit a lord. Ooh, nice. Yeah, I'll take that. So do I want to play Innocent Blood here? I don't think there's a point. I think what I want to do is kill off this Whisperer. So I don't really want them to keep drawing cards. It's fine. Oh, they've missed a bunch of land drops. We'll leave that there just because they've shown that they can bring a board back pretty quickly, but this is going to hurt them a lot. Turn down the volume a little. It's going to hurt them a lot because they're only on 4 lands now. Yeah, I'll keep that. Obviously, I'm going to need to keep hitting land drops, but I was hoping I could do this and then ride up, but I cannot. So I'm just going to play out the rider actually. Makes Innocent Blood a lot worse, but hopefully we can just start hitting lands. You're not a land. Do I want to languish here? I think I do. So I'm going to attack with the rider just to get the life gain. Just because both of these allow them to swell their board through the activated abilities. They really should have blocked there. Like, this is pretty clearly telegraphing that I'm wiping the board. It's not like Grixis runs combat tricks. Good game. Yeah, I'm going to keep this. Obviously it's a little weak against anything that's not a creature deck, but again, Maze Mind Tome can help with that. I'm quite liking Fetid Pools. I did originally have Triomes because I didn't, I don't follow Historic very closely. I didn't know this was an option. So I had other Triomes that produced Grixis Color Mark. The 2 ones that produced black and blue and red and black, but this is obviously a much better option. So that sentence took a lot longer than it should have. So we're up against another Grixis list here. Unfortunately that means we're going to lose our Maze Mind Tome and our hand becomes terrible. So I have played a couple mirror matches with earlier versions of this deck, and I just got really unlucky. There were terrible Grixis lists that I was playing against, but I just drew terribly and watched my opponents draw everything they could ever need. So hopefully this goes a little better. Okay, eliminate not particularly relevant here. I do think we get rid of the Narset here. Obviously a Bolas could come down, but half the sacks can answer that. I don't have an answer for a 5-mana Bolas at the moment, but you know, what else. Hooray,
I
that's
know
it.
88 ways to keep an open mind.
Thought Erasure's a little unfortunate. There's not anything in my hand they can hit. I'm gonna play this. So it means there's two cards in my hand they don't know. It does incentivize them to play the Thought Erasure rather than something more relevant. Like that Bolas. They can't play Bolas at the moment anyway. They don't have nearly enough black mana. They only have one black mana. That sucks for them. But I effectively have no cards in hand. Ooh, and they take damage for that as well. Burn. So you can just start drawing now. Unfortunately, this lets them play their Bolas.
All will bow before Nicol Bolas.
Buy Soccer Balls.
My schemes are never ending.
Okay, so Thought Erasure is not terrible, but I really need to draw something that's going to answer Bolas. Obviously, that's not it. Get rid of Scarab God here. Search for Ascanto, you're not what I need. That was silly of me. But anyway, this is the sort of thing that I'm talking about. Like, I'll just hit all lands, and so, I mean, I'm not saying that this list my opponent's running is a bad list, but I did see some objectively bad lists, and I'd run into a situation like this, where, like, the top 20 cards of my deck, so 18 of the top 20 cards of my deck were land, and I just couldn't play the game. We're going to concede this one. Between Ascanta and Bolas, they're going to end up so far ahead of us by the time we can do anything. So Heartless Act is less useful here, Innocent Blood is much less useful, Cry can go, Languish can go, Devastation does almost nothing. I forgot to take Cling to Dust out of my thing again. Thought Distortion could be good here. Chandra's helpful. These are good, these are good. Do I want Necromancer? I mean, it's better than some of my other options. Actually, Epic Downfall is good here because it can hit Ravager and Scarab God. Necromancer can also do that. I was thinking Dream Render. Oops, just for lack of better options, but that is in fact a better option. So we're going to go like this. Of course, I'm foolishly running a 61 card list. And hopefully we draw a bit better in this game. That was a silly thing to do, activating Maze Mind Tome into the Narset. Second time I've done that today, tried to draw with a Narset on the board. So this hand is okay, it's not amazing. I don't like having two of these and only one black, but we've got Maze Mind Tome, Negate, and Narset, which are all very relevant. Thoughtseize Thoughtseize is obviously a great card, but I don't know that it belongs in this list because you struggle with life gains so much anyway. So I'm going to set stops for scrying. I've got a second, so I don't have to be too worried about burning through this. Except that we get Thoughtseized again. Which is fine. I'm still going to scry, just to take advantage while I can. Don't need that at the moment. So we'll play this tap, we can hold up negate, and if not we'll draw and our opponent ends it. Oh, they missed their land drop too, that sucks. It's not a terrible draw. We'll play this out first, because that's what our opponent knows about. And again, we've got negate or rider held up now, and Tone Morpho available. Okay, they hit their third land, they still have no blue. Ravage is nice. Necromentia is also nice. So do I want to fire off Ravager? Or do I want to fire off a Necromentia while I know I can? I think Ravager. Let's be proactive while my opponent's stuck behind. That's fine, still a 2 for 1. Ritual of Soot. Why would they keep that in against me? I'm clearly playing a Grixis list and I did not show them anything. I mean, yeah, Murderous Rider, but there's still no play. So I'm going to go for Necromentia here. I feel like they maybe have a counter spell, but I'm actually going to go for Ravager. Am I going to go for Ravager? No, Dragon God is a lot more damaging at this point in the game. Okay, and they do have one as well. Vraska's Contempt. Okay, I considered running that. Yep, so they brought in a Chandra as well. Hostage Taker. That's interesting. They do have Croxa. One Scarab God. They've kept in Bontus as well. So they've sideboarded quite badly.
Have been foiled.
So they get a zombie here. That is fine though. I assume they can't Nasa it because they don't have 2 blue. Yep, that's fine. We take the 2 here. So we've got one more draw left on our time. We'll use that now. I should have checked for counter spells while I was peekabooing through their deck. That is a very nice draw though. They've still got negate held up for the Vraska's Contempt here. Now they do have 2 removal spells for it, but it will force them to use both.
Won't forget our time together.
Why would they exile Nasa? I mean, I know they can't cast it right now, but that's such a good card in this match. Get rid of the zombie. You're gonna Murderous Rider anyway, like.
Your bloodline from existence.
I don't understand the decisions people make sometimes. I was thinking, do I kill the zombie and play this out, but I don't think there's a world in which that's a good play. So that's unfortunate. I wanted that rider. Yep. So do I want to kill their rider? Nah, I think I just deal with it for the time being. Run out Narset, they obviously kill it next turn. But, you know, it draws us a card, and... Okay, so do I want to see what's in their hand? Or do I want to yeet something from their graveyard? Okay, if what was in their hand was great, they would have played it already. So, I think I'm just going to take that. It's unfortunate we're losing... Unfortunately, we're losing Scarab God. But this can also gain us life. Can draw us cards. So if I murder this rider, Narset stays alive, but I can't use her, so there's no point.
I must train hard.
Yep, so at some point I am going to have to deal with this board. I'm going to yeet something else out of their graveyard. This is also making it harder for them to bring back a Croxer. Just trying to be aware I don't want to get rid of too many targets for resurrecting with a Ravager.
My mind needs a rest.
The flood. The flood is real. So again, I just run this out to add my life total. Get rid of a Croxer. Search for a Scanter. Those are both good things to get rid of. Just buys us another turn of not having to play out this rider.
You will be haunted by this tool.
Aggressive cracking of the passage. So at this point I am gonna do this. Because like if I hit a Bolas, a Dragon God, or another Planeswalker, I can't protect it at the moment. Ooh, that was a nice hit. Ooh, that sucks. So I don't like doing this. I really do not. But I want to take advantage while I can. So we'll do this for the Surveil. Okay, that's nice, and since I know that's there, I'll actually do this now. So there's no point drawing a card now, I'll only have 2 mana left open. There's also no point attacking, I'd just be... I mean, they can double block, but even if they didn't, they'd just be trading 2 damage for 2 damage, like it would just cancel out one of their thingies. I'm not actually getting ahead by doing that. So we'll draw a card here. Doesn't seem like our opponent has any draw or filtering, which is strange. So we'll start with Duress. Okay. And then we'll do this. Excellent. And hold open the cycle unfettered pools. So next turn we can attack, flip, and bring back another Ravager, so we've still got board dominance. That's why I prioritize keeping this in here over keeping... Oh, that's cool, we've got fettered pools for the stuff. Over keeping Dragon God. I think we still have enough mana to do everything that I want to do here.
I am limitless.
Okay, so I can bring back another Ravager. So I was thinking it might be better to draw 2, but I actually am going to bring back Ravager. Because it does give us the extra board presence, but it also gives us protection if they draw a removal spell for flipped Nicol Bolas. I can flip this one next turn. Thought Erasure, that's fine, I have nothing in hand. They may have been fooled by this Cling to Dust here, but either way they get the Surveil. There's no point in them holding that card. You do get the draw at the end step. 1-2's Last Reckoning is actually not a bad draw for them. It's not a great draw for them, don't get me wrong. Okay, so at this point we have to get pretty unlucky to lose. Yep. Okay, so what did I see in there that I wasn't expecting? A whole bunch of board wipes. I should have paid more attention when I cast Necromancer, because I know there was something in there that I was not quite prepared for. Stick up the Chandra. I think we still keep it like this. Oh, did not mean to do that. Yep. This hand is good enough. We've got turn 2 Tome, turn 3 Narset, turn 4 Bolas. We've got a negate in there. I'm sure it won't play out like that against a Grixis deck, but opponent's taken a mull. Ooh, to 5. Ooh, that really hurts for them. So I'm gonna lead on this just because it's our only source of it's our only source of red. but I don't really need a turn 2 Maze Mind turn, so yes, I'll lead on this. So if I led on this, I could have gone Catacomb Swamp, turn 3 Narset, but, you know, whatever. Yes, Cantor's nice for them, but Jesus, a mull to 5, I feel bad for them. It's going to be a real uphill battle for them. So I didn't see any counter magic from them. Epic Downfall's nice, because they could have a Ravager here. Our Ravager's going to hurt them a fair bit though, given their small hand size. Oh, we got our own S-Cantor, didn't even notice that. Okay, Rider.
This was overwhelming.
Okay, Thought Erasure's nice here. So I'm not going to rush into Ravager. So we can Thought Erasure and either hold up Negate or play out as Cantor depending on what we see. Get rid of Ravager, obviously. Or do I get rid of Contempt? It's the only answer to something I play, but by the same... You know, this is an automatic 2-for-1, so I think I get rid of that. I don't think I need another Negate at the moment, so I think I just get S-Cantor down. It's stronger than Maze Mind in this matchup. So in the long game it gets me more advantage. Oh, they drew a Ravager anyway. I think I'll drop the Tome off here. Land is nice. So what I'm going to do is Downfall. And from here we're going to play so that we can hold up Negate. So they've done pretty well for themselves given that they mulled to 5. Yep, we'll keep that on top. They do have Negates. Do I want to fight over this? I mean, it does empty out their hand and put them in tough deck mode. Yeah, it forces them to use Contempt. I think playing the Negate there is always the correct choice, or almost always. I was just concerned about, obviously now if they draw a Dragon God they can slap it directly onto the battlefield, but I can answer it with my own, so... Thought Erasure sucks, but what do you do? So they should take Ravager here. The correct... Oh! That was incorrect. So Ravager is going to, Ooh. Oh, that's brutal. So we activate this here.
Keep an open mind.
Take the Maze of Mind Tome. We don't need the Duress because we're going to do this. So Ravager's an automatic 2-for, and it can bring back my Dragon God. Obviously they have the Contempt in hand to answer it, but I really don't think taking Dragon God was the correct play there. Okay, so I could have just played Ravager there, but I wanted to make sure that they didn't have removal. I probably should have just played Ravager there, so I held up as counter activation, but they really need to flip this sooner rather than later. They're so screwed on land. But if they flip it, they're not filtering their draws. They're just in a world of hurt at the moment, aren't they? So I am going to attack flip Ravager and take their Chandra.
Power is incredible.
Obviously, I can get Dragon God, but I just will take this when I can.
I need some fuel. And you look flammable enough.
Get rid of this Rider.
Glad I can help with your not being on fire problem.
And also a single uptick from Chandra is a death sentence because Grixis lists don't run life gain. So they need to, yeah. Again, hand is not amazing, but it's keepable. He seems to be getting a lot of two-landers. Okay, Loris, this will be a Rakdos deck. These have historically been difficult for me. Oh, it's Azorius Auras! I'm gonna do this just to get rid of that. Oh, no land drop. That hurts. Good game, I guess. Okay, what do I want against an Auras deck? So Innocent Blood is nice here. God, I keep forgetting to take this extra card out. What do I really want to change here? A couple of Duresses might be nice. I think Search for a Scanter a little bit slow here. Maze Mind Tome at least gained us some life. Cut a Nikki B for an Enter the God Eternals. And guess Chandra at least sweeps the board, but by the time she comes down she will not be relevant. Negate potentially. I think we just leave it like this. I don't know why people don't just refer to this as Azorius, but with like A-U-R-A instead of O-R-I. Continuing our theme of hands that are not amazing but are nevertheless keepable. Mind you, Maze Mind Tome has done some work in terms of salvaging otherwise unkeepable hands for us. Okay, so we do have turn 3 Cry enabled. We're going to shock in for Duress here. Cardouche of Knowledge. So yeah, I mean obviously we get rid of one of these. They're going to cartouche up their doggo and we're going to sweep it away. Hopefully, with Cryover Carnarium. Go on, be a cartouche bag. We really would like to get that Loris out as well. Oh, to give it flying as well. Draw a card, +1/+1, and flying. Jeez, that does a lot. Tome. Put stops on just to allow us to scry twice if we need to. Yep, our seed. Oh, you hate to see it. Yep. Thought Erasure, no, not at this point. Ravager, yeah, it gets at least he blocks in the air. So we're in an unfortunate position where I feel like I have to do this, knowing that it's nowhere near good enough. Oh, and they've got the Spell Pierce. What a beating. Should have kept that Thought Erasure. Okay, so I really need a Languish here. No, I already got one of those. That's not it. I mean, obviously we have to go for Ravager here. So they can sacrifice the Owl Seed to make sure the Savior gets through if they want to. Okay, come on, Languish. Okay, that's no longer an option. Obviously we have to block here. Can't have them drawing all those cards. Life gain's pretty clutch. Can't cast you. So I'm going to kill off the Spirit Dancer while I have the chance. Oh, that was lucky. Our opponent just scooped too soon there, to be honest. Alright guys, so that's the deck. Hope you enjoyed the games. You see I did eventually go and cut another card to get down to 60. Although I think in my next video you may see another 1 or 2 games before I did that. Well, thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed playing. Stay brilliant, guys.